Hello everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Non-League Diaries. I'm pleased to say I'm once again joined by Southwest-based groundhopper Martin. How are you, pal?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you, mate. Just coming back into shot there is regular contributor Nige. How are you, pal?
Hiya, mate. Nice one.
And I'm delighted to say we are also joined by a couple of social media geniuses, far better at this kind of thing than I am. Representing AFC Darwen, we've got Matt. How are you, pal?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Welcome to the team. And we've also got representing Jarrow FC, Peter. Good evening, sir.
Hello, you all right?
Very well, thank you. We'll start this episode, if we might, with you, Matt. Just introduce Darwen to anyone who's not familiar with them.
Right, so AFC Darwen, one of the pioneers of the English game. So over the summer and over the first lockdown, there was a massive success in a Netflix documentary called The English Game, where the moral of the story was about the first paid professionals by a northern mill town, Darwen FC, how they challenged the likes of the Old Etonians and all Carthusians in the FA Cup. So that's basically our origin. We were just a mill football town that brought in the first professionals in the game. We've had a bit of a staggered history where we were founding members of the Football League Division 2. We spent about a decade there, not too long, and then we were really consigned to non-league regional football. We actually were made bankrupt in 2009, but luckily a not-for-profit community club called AFC Darwen were, straight away created for the benefit of the community and for the people that the original Darwen FC left behind. And AFC Darwen have been, in the West Lancashire League and then now the North West Counties League since the new inception in 2009. So we had a very good season in 2016 where the League and Cup double got promoted, soon after relegated again. So really the North West Counties Division 1 North is our home, and we look forward to basically growing the profile of the club and also try to sneak up the non-league pyramid the best we can, a bit of in the spirit of the old Darwen FC.
Yeah, no, that all sounds brilliant. It sounds like we're having just a couple of technical issues there with your audio, so I'm hoping you can still hear me okay. In terms of the season prior to getting back involved, my research is correct. You're actually in the same division as Steeton, who had the manager of last month. He joined us to discuss all things non-league. Unfortunately, before the shutdown, you lost to the team currently top of that division, I believe, 1-0. But are you confident that this year, when things do get back on, should they get back on okay? Because I know, which we'll come on to in a bit, too, some stuff is still affecting it. Could this be the year, or is it a consolidation year and build for next one?
This year is definitely one that we need to take with two hands and grasp and try and get up there. So in the league that we're in and what Steeton's also in, there's 4 promotion spots. We did get beat to lower break, 1-0 as you said. But all this season, there's not been a game where I think that we played actually quite bad. In previous seasons, the football under different management is, been quite average. But this year we played nice football on the floor. Off the field, there's a lot of ambitious things going on. So we're planning on building a new stand. We're getting money from the local council to basically add new facilities. And the management in place is really good. There's only, I personally think there's 2 teams. There's Bury, who everybody expects to go up with their financial clout. I think Golcar will be up there. And I think the other 2 spots is anybody's to play for. And I think we've got a real chance at it this season. So yeah, it's not going to be a consolidation season. It's actually going to be a season that we're going to go for it once we return to play, hopefully in December.
And one last question, if I may, is one that I'll also be asking Peter when we come on to Jarrow. As mentioned at the start, that you're involved in the social media side there. How important is that, do you think, particularly for non-league clubs?
Very important. So I know we've got Martyn on, who's a ground hopper. I am myself. I tend to find from ground hopping, looking at loads of other clubs, that social media is really key. So if I get a positive reaction from a social media page from a non-league club, that'll make me want to go there. So I've come across many clubs who, have not replied to messages or haven't been that welcoming or inviting, and that kind of puts you off, puts them at the back of the queue. So I think that if you're open on social media, have a bit of banter with other clubs, the fans, then that'll show you in a good light and portray your club well. Social media is really key from a lot of things. So I did social media for Darwen, just the match day tweets, around about 2-3 seasons ago. Then I basically stopped doing it because I just couldn't commit my time to doing that every week. I've come back on board this season to try and boost our social media profile up, and it seems to be working at the moment. But it's just getting yourself out there, getting yourself known, especially with in this lockdown situation. A lot of Football League fans can't go and watch their club. If they see your club's tweets, if they see the proactiveness of your club, your engagement, then they might, want to come down the road and watch yourselves. And hopefully by doing that, if they enjoy it more than they do going to watch the Football League team, then they'll keep coming through the turnstile. So yeah, social media is very important. It's good to build relationships with other clubs. That's one of the greatest things that I've found is, especially in the North West Counties League, all the social media within the clubs are quite well connected. So it's just about building relationships both with the other clubs and fans. But it's an absolute positive attribute if your social media is recognised as, friendly and welcoming.
Is that an assessment you'd agree with, Peter?
100%. The fact that you're talking about a positive welcome and attitude can bring other fans to come and watch your team. It just brings revenue into your club. So it is a bit of a selfish thing, but in a positive way. I think it's got to be a good thing.
And please tell us a bit more about Jarrow, because obviously those who watched the first episode of this, they'll know that we're tending to be speaking to teams quite north, and you're even further north again. So give us an idea of what the scene's like up there as well for non-league clubs.
Yeah, we're in the same tier as Steeton and also Darwen. So we play in the Northern League Division 2. And at the minute we're sitting second bottom, so it's not going particularly well this season. But we're in a bit of a transition. So quite a few new players have come into the club. We've been on a bit of a cup run, as it happens. I don't know whether some of the lads might know anything about Warrington Rylands, who are playing on next Saturday in the Vase. So that's quite an exciting game. But there'll be nobody there.
Well, it brings us nicely on to the next point, which I know sort of in our conversations leading into this, a few of you mentioned, and it is the FA VASE or FA VASE, depending on which part of the country you're from. And yes, the announcement regarding tier systems is affecting league campaigns, but also that, as you say, because if I'm right, this is the furthest you've managed to get in the competition, and you'll have no fans there to witness such a big game, because we all know, or most will know, of Warrington and particularly their couple of exploits in recent years as well. So it must be hard to know that you've done your part of the deal getting that far, and now your fans can't enjoy the success.
It's almost like if we lose, we're going to be punished twice, because they're going to get the prize money and we're going to have to pay all this money for them to travel. So any money that we've made in the previous rounds is just going to go on bringing them across, which seems like a bit of a kick in the teeth, to be honest.
Yeah, this was something that surprised me a little bit in terms of how the regulations and stuff were going. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also to do with the host team or the home team is going to be paying the expenses for the away team to come and play there.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's our third home game in a row.
Now, I can't see how clubs at any level would find that difficult, but particularly the further down the pyramid you go. That is clearly unsustainable for teams that...
Yeah. Look at Steeton. They only had one game and they had to pay for us to come.
It's someone else's ground. We
exactly.
couldn't even play at our ground.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a good time, actually, to bring you in on this, Nige, because I know this is something you're particularly passionate about.
Yeah, there's a lot happened on Friday, which obviously we won't get time to cover properly. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow at some point. But the stop fans coming into non-league step 3 to 6 games, and this is obviously due to government advice. So a lot of leagues have actually suspended themselves, which is sort of a bit of a pushback at the government and the FA for trying to force them to play behind closed doors, when a lot of leagues like the North West Counties agreed that they would only play with fans because they could only afford to play with fans. Now, the FA is still saying, well, you've suspended your leagues, but you must play these FA VASE games. You must play these FA Trophy games, mainly because there are competitions and that's one of our main interests with sponsors, etc. Now, already there's a bit of a growing groundswell of thought that maybe clubs should make this a bit difficult for the FA. The FA should come back in the next 4 or 5 days and basically come to some agreement about letting fans in, even if it's home fans, because playing these FA VASE games from the 5th of December is going to be on the back of 1 day's training and over a month layup with players just training themselves and trying to keep fit themselves. So there is a bit of tension about this, but obviously clubs need the money that the competition pay per round is quite good, and how teams like Jarrow and Steeton, etc., Darwen, make the money more is from the FA VASE, and the other tournaments if they're high enough up, like they can enter the FA Cup, etc. Not the trophy because that's for higher non-league. But that's how they make the money. And if you get on 2 or 3 rounds, you can get quite big clubs and get good home crowds from it.
Picking up on one of the points you make there, it is interesting because I was reading the non-league team, as I've said before, that I go to watch, Hinckley in Leicestershire. The league therein has suspended it. I believe it's until the 19th. Is there that return date? Because just about every club in the league, I believe, is in a tier 3 town or city. So no fans can go, and no club can sustain the expense involved. I believe the players are still afforded the right to train, but there's not going to be any games now until the 19th, if I've read that correctly this evening.
Yeah, they're hoping on the 16th, when the government do review, that some of the leagues are going to get enough teams put back into tier 2 in order for them to start playing fixtures and having fans in. That's brilliant. And obviously, I mean, I can't see that happening. I can't see there being a lot of change until after Christmas. And the other thing is the funding, which they've obviously found out is 14 million, which is part of the government winter package to help non-league clubs and clubs in the EFL. There's just 14 million for 3 to 6 steps in non-league, and most of that's going to be loans rather than non-returnable grants. Now, there's no clubs at our level can afford to take out loans. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, people have even talked about, well, you know, these clubs take out loans are going to be in even more danger of going out of business next summer. And it's just a mess, Stephen, really, what they've made. That's one of the reasons I was absolutely furious Friday. I mean,
we were there.
The FA are not fit for purpose to run non-league football. That's the top and bottom of it. They don't even seem to have knowledge of the teams that they're representing and how the games run. I mean, this is the biggest association other than FIFA. They're bigger than UEFA as far as you know, number of clubs that they represent, and it's just, we'll see what happens. But they're just, you know, they've just let everybody down again.
Well, I think a lot of the points you make are very true, very honest, and very passionately put. And it's a good time now to bring Martyn in, because he's obviously based a lot further south, where I think you're probably tier 2 area, possibly even tier 1, depending on whereabouts you are. But also, I know we had a very brief conversation about a tweet by Ollie Bayliss, who is an account particularly non-league related. I do like to read what he's saying. He seems quite knowledgeable on this. And it was the fact that someone asked him regarding the use of burger vans and food kiosks. And he said, as far as he can gather from what he's been told, they can be open for takeaway only, but only if the products purchased are eaten not only outside the ground, but outside the car park.
It's, yeah, we're quite fortunate. I'm being in Exeter based, we're in tier 2, we're quite fortunate, but we're in a quite a unique situation where our local Steps 6 league, the Peninsula League, which is the southwest version of the Northern Counties League, has a division in Cornwall. So there's a division separated by a river that's in tier 1, which is, it is what it is, but this is an unmitigated disaster for everyone involved in non-league football. I can't fathom how these people pay so much money, and this is what they're giving to the clubs and communities. The burger van being an actual point, like how does that even, I can't, this morning I've read that it's down to local authorities, but it's not, shouldn't be down to clubs to contact the local authorities to find out if supporters can eat a burger or not. Why are these people not at the top of the food chain, not telling clubs and the volunteers what they can and can't do and finding these things out? It's just, I'm with Nige, it's you know, it's a mitigated disaster. It's basically, they've set the house on fire and they've rang the fire brigade and they've turned up with a gallon of petrol. That's literally what we're probably going to end up with.
I'll just say, Martyn, having said that, I would give my right arm to eat, well, I don't eat meat, but give my right arm to eat a bag of chips sat on the pavement outside a football ground at the moment. I tell you,
yeah.
I quite happily do that.
I'm not
it's
whinging.
Ridiculous, though.
I'm not whinging. I am, every non-league supporter down here is incredibly fortunate, and I feel really sorry for the other guys on the chat living up in the north of England and for any other club affected in tier 3. But it's for the non-league community, it's just terrible.
When the football does resume down where you are, right down in the southwest, are you hoping to be able to go to a few games again? Are you hoping to get back into the ground hopping?
Yeah, hopefully. The Southwest Peninsula have given, well, the Cornish clubs are still going to carry on playing, and from what I gather, local Cornish clubs are going to keep playing. The Step 6 are given the opportunity to postpone, but some of them have, their league secretary said this morning, some clubs are going to give it a go for one game, and if they make a loss, they'll call it a day and it will just keep on rolling. But the Western League is postponed. I think the Southern League will probably follow suit as well. We're going to probably get to the point where push comes to shove. I think that I can't see any of the leagues finishing, to be honest, down this way.
When we spoke last month, you also were quite passionate about sort of crossing the border slightly into some of the Welsh teams. Have you been keeping an eye on the situation across the border there?
Yeah, I spoke to a friend of mine who lives in Wales. It sounds even worse over there. And again, it's a mitigated disaster. I think the Welsh supporters have been a bit more organised and have had more time. I think every Friday they seem to bombard their MPs and the Welsh FA with the red card pictures, but they're probably in a worse state than we are. They're only allowed 30 people inside a ground in the top 2 tiers, and that's including players and officials. So some clubs are having to decide, do they have 2 substitutes and no physio, or 2 substitutes or 1 substitute and a physio? There's no thought process. They don't even know those dots exist to connect them, some of these people.
It does sound, from the outside looking in, no matter where you are in the country, it seems, no matter how well off, if that's the right term, the teams in Tier 3 are clearly struggling. The teams in Tier 2, it's not much better for them in terms of the restrictions that they're having put against them. And even then, there's so few teams in Tier 1 that they won't see the benefit of it. So it does look to be a bit, a complete farce, really. Matt, on the wider scale of things, do you see the world of football, if you like, coming together to find a resolution, or is it kind of each league is individually doing what they can?
That's a bit of a tough question. I think on the whole, the actual fans of non-league football are united. So I've seen it straight away from, when Concord Rangers started to let fans in hashtag, and then eventually that mothballed into, Football League fans using it. The fans are united. I think really the leagues and clubs need to show, a bit of togetherness on this issue. There's been some times where it might have been inappropriate at the wrong times. There's been some times where I've basically wished that some clubs would have stuck 2 fingers up at the FA and the DCMS and just gone ahead and done things. But again, it's if the clubs want to get in trouble, whether it'll tarnish their reputation. I think up until January there'll be no collective effort. But if this continues on, I can see some organisations, for example, the Northern Counties East League and also the North West Counties, maybe joining forces to put pressure on the FA, the DCMS, maybe as well the Northern League, maybe the Northern organisation banding together. At this moment, I can't see it, but maybe if things don't improve and it gets to a situation where the full season may be in jeopardy, I really think that in January it might happen. But I wish there'd be some collective force from the clubs. I'm not saying that proactively on social media for AFC Darwen. I'd do that. But because obviously it go against the grain of the club, I don't think the people, up at the top would be happy in my actions. But as a fan, I really, wished at times that some clubs would have actually banded together. See, I'm quite fortunate in that I'll go to, for example, some Step 7 and below games. So I'm background hopping this weekend. I'm going to watch a Lancashire Amateur League game. But I think those fans who are just solely focused on like Steps 3 to 6 or non-league, I think eventually that the pressure will tell in the end in January. There'll be some sort of combined effort to get things going again.
Matt, two questions, if I can, to you at this stage. You have a point there that Matt made. Do you see a situation where the league doesn't get finished again? And the second question is about the well-known volunteer aspect at non-league, because there are people who do the stuff for the love of their club, and they're still doing it, but they're not getting the reward of seeing it. You've got the people who are still going and making sure, like stands are well represented in terms of painting, things, etc., so that people, as soon as they can go, it's up to purpose. So what's your thoughts on those 2 points?
Yeah, so there might be a lot of volunteers lost due to obviously putting in the work. and then obviously getting nothing out of it, not getting to see the team. I really don't know with that one, but when it comes to the will we be in a situation where the season won't finish again? I really think that could be a genuine possibility. I know that in the North West County that they've already been asked to vote on a scenario if the league wasn't going ahead, so if they had to curtail it. So they took like a straw poll of their member clubs and asked whether they wanted to null and void it or they wanted to do points per game. I don't know the outcome of it, but I know that a kind of like secret straw poll went ahead. So I do think that there may be like contingency plans in place just in case we get to that scenario if there's no football towards the back end of January, beginning of February.
Are those same conversations happening where you are, Peter?
Sorry?
Are those same sort of conversations about what happens if the season gets voided happening where you are?
They actually spoke about it before the season started. I think they were talking about a percentage of games being played and who would be happy with a certain percentage of, so like 75% of the season and you end it there. I know there's like some different mathematical equations as well, and I think a few of the leagues, the Conference North and Conference South not use a mathematical. Was Gateshead got into the playoffs through it, and I don't really know how it worked. But yeah, there's a team called Heaton Stallington in our division who actually wrote a letter to the FA, and they got 6 or 7 other clubs to back them. This was before the end of the last lockdown. So this is going back to your point about clubs coming together. I think there will be a lot more clubs pulling together. And as Matt alluded to, I think the Northern League are quite friendly with the North West Counties League. We'll have a lot of games against each other in the VASE. So I think you can see them two coming together as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Positive.
that's a lot of important points as we hopefully look towards a resumption of the football. Before we finish, let's see if we can move on to the slightly happier topics in terms of the non-league representation in the FA Cup this year. And I'll sort of come to you with a different game. We'll focus on the ones that have already been, because I know Nige and I are recording again tomorrow for some more non-league content. So, Martyn, I'll come to you first. On Friday night, Brackley were slightly unfortunate to lose to Tranmere.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the game, but it's nice for Brackley to be on telly, I suppose, and to have their moment in the sun. I know they've worked quite hard to work up through the league, so it's a shame they didn't get through. But Tranmere are probably, play week in, week out. So yeah.
And Nige, I don't know if you saw the way this game was going, but Solihull were very unfortunate, losing an extra time to Morecambe.
Yeah, I watched this game because, unlike Martyn, I'm prepared. And he should have given us a game each, Stephen, you see. We'll have to do that next time. That's what
Give me Darlington.
Give you Darlington? Oh, yeah. No,
That
too late now, Peter, isn't it? They've gone. Yeah, Morecambe, Solihull. It was a cracking game. It was end to end, and the quality of the football was very good. The pass and move from both sides. It was surprising, to be honest, because the pitch wasn't in great nick with the wet weather. But Solihull, they didn't deserve to go through. Morecambe were definitely the better side, and it was just a really good game. It's a shame it was on early on Saturday, really, because it was probably one of the better games from the weekend. It was certainly better than the EFL team's game. Better than that, So yeah, Morecambe might surprise somebody in third round if they play like that. Because I was very impressed with them, especially up front.
I think we all enjoy a giant killing and a cup run from a lower league team. The likes of Nige and myself and our EFL teams maybe getting a scalp of a Championship or Premier League team, or non-league sides, you know, in trouble with their cup runs. Unfortunately, Matt, one team who weren't able to repeat what they've done previously were Kings Lynn, as they got absolutely hammered 6-1 by Portsmouth.
Yeah, I actually watched a bit of that game. For me, it was the fitness of obviously Portsmouth, the EFL side, that were really key. Like Kings Lynn are getting to good areas, and then they basically either panic when there were a shot opportunity or a clear pass on, and then Portsmouth would just show the fitness and strength and just go down the other end and just make it a really hard afternoon for Kings Lynn. But it's all experience. Any non-league club that gets into the first round, second round, third round, their players will just use it as a great stepping board for the rest of their career, and it'll lighten their experience. So hopefully Kings Lynn, in future, if they go up against league opposition, they'll be have more experience and be better prepared.
No, absolutely. It's a very valid point in terms of the experience they'll gain from it. Finally, Peter, I'll give you the good result, if you like. As seen in the backdrop I've given myself, congratulations have to be given to Chorley, who beat High Flying Peterborough.
Fantastic result. I didn't actually see the game, but I was keeping it up with the result. And when you look at some of the players that Peterborough have got, and they're normally quite a good side, it's a result. I seen the winning goal, and it was smashed in the back of the net. It's good, really, really good. It's positive, isn't it? I think the majority of the non-leagues that have played against league sides haven't really disgraced themselves. I watched Darlington today, and for half an hour, they were brilliant, but they just fell apart. It's a bit similar to what Matt said, where they were panicking in certain situations, and in the end, they got murdered. But it's a learning curve, isn't it?
No, absolutely, and I know that one person who did keep an eye on the result, for anyone who's watched the EFL version of these Zoom cast shows that I'm doing, is Connor. So I just want to take a moment just to give him a nice little wave, Connor, the Peterborough fan, and say, unlucky pal, it's not your year either. But no, congratulations, surely. Listen, guys, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your Sunday evening for this. I know it helps broaden my understanding of what's going on in non-league, and I hope you've enjoyed talking about your teams and the situation as it is now. And hopefully, when we all come together to talk again, we're in a lot more positive position, particularly for the teams, further up north. So again, individually, Martin, thanks for the time.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yes.
And Matt, Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
That's wild, isn't it?